We're going to do a quick move-in inspection on this smaller unit, and I'm gonna take you guys along. All right, let the fun begin. Not anticipating this to be too difficult, since this is a very small unit and the tenant's always been fairly easy tenant. So actually looks pretty clean, so I don't think this is gonna be a difficult inspection. So I will go through and I'm going to take photos of each and every little thing to detail it. So even if we're not going to charge the tenant, I don't know if I can actually, you can see this, there's actually dust on this wall that the tenant could have wiped down. Now, we're really looking for what's normal wear and tear. And so far out of the gate, we have to get through it. Things like this, we actually have a little plaster missing and some smudges against this door jamb, but it's adjacent to the door. And that's kind of, to a degree, it's kind of the normal course of wear and tear. And then these hooks here are not ideal, but again, and it's all relative, and there's some marks here, here and there. I mean, I'm not seeing anything that I can actually call beyond normal wear and tear, and we actually have smudges here on the wall. We got some curtains, something out here. Oh, actually, this can't be the last tenants. We're at a place called Pier 3. It's actually kind of a nice community. I'm actually going to do a separate video after I do this one, kind of showing it. This obviously belongs to the association. They must be doing some work here. And I'm not really seeing a lot that actually a tenant can be charged for. So we're going to document this. We're going to take pictures of all this so we have it on file. But again, a lot of the stuff does fall under the kind of normal course of action. We would expect a tenant to hang things like a flat screen TV, which might be what this was, even though this isn't really significant enough to hold a TV up, but I'm guessing that's what was here. So we would expect a normal tenant to hang a flat screen TV. We are gonna have to out of pocket to pay to have these plastic things removed, and then of course to have them plastered, and to, it might be actually time to repaint this unit, but in the very least to touch up the paint. So the trim here isn't in great shape, but the trim isn't really a high enough quality paint. So we really want to do at least a semi-gloss on your trim, because if there's semi-gloss on your trim, then it's going to clean up very easily. So the dust is going to get on it. You're going to be able to just take a quick rag or have the housekeeper take a quick rag. Unfortunately, they just used a eggshell, a lower sheen paint. So now any dust that collects on it is just going to become kind of permanent. And then it's just going to kind of lump up if you try to paint over it, and it really can't clean it. So I will probably recommend to the owner to kind of paint this a different color, maybe a nice white, and to do an eggshell paint. So let's see. And again, we're just going to take photos of this just so we have it. And but not seeing much in the way of beyond wear and tear. As disappointing as some of this stuff is, we really don't have a call to hold it against the tenant. So here's somebody obviously put a hot pot onto this countertop. I feel like this is new. This is something we would charge the tenant, but we'll have to go through and check our move-in inspection photos. So the last photos that we took of the property before the tenant moved in, if this wasn't here, we are going to charge them. So this is a linoleum top counter, very susceptible to tenant damage. So it's very inexpensive. Believe it or not, no matter how low rent of a unit you have, you do want to use at least a granite or a Korean style counter, because they actually won't get damaged from a tenant. And this damage was quick and easy. It was merely taking a pot that was somewhat warm off of this burner, setting it right here, and that's where that damage came from. And I have a feeling this is new. This is definitely something we would charge the tenant for. And we would go through all these cupboards. The one thing that we always get hooked on is stove hooks. So this doesn't really have much in the way of handles, but these often break. And again, it's debatable if it's normal wear and tear, but the tenant is to let us know anything that has happened to the unit. So if it's broken, they have to let us know in advance so we can actually get it fixed. So you do want to test these before you return the tenant's security deposit, because you're not going to know these have been broken by the tenant until the next tenant moves in. And you can see the bottom of that stove oven needs to be cleaned, and that actually gets a little costly with a housekeeper. And we have a little dent in the fridge door. This is new fridge. Now that I actually recall we had to buy this tenant a new fridge, and it still looks in fairly new condition. The door is off this hinge, probably a quick and easy fix. I don't know if it was the tenant's fault, because I'm not really seeing reckless tenant behavior here. So I don't know if we would end up charging the tenant that. I don't think we would. And wire hanging down, that wouldn't be any fault of the tenant. The washer and dryer look to be in good working condition. The bathroom seems to be in good enough condition. And really not a lot for us to charge the tenant for. But I'm gonna get through and I'm gonna take my photos and we're going to compare this damage on this countertop to when the tenant moved in and see if we're charging the tenant or if we're not. And that's basically what we have. I mean, we are going to have to get a housekeeper in here because actually the tenant left things, and it's kind of common for them to leave things like this behind, thinking that nobody will care or somebody might want them. That's not true. An incoming tenant's not gonna want their old and used boxes. Someone's gonna have to take this to a dumpster and throw it out, and we're gonna have to pay that person to do that. So they will get charged at least for a housekeeping fee, possibly for our counter damage over that way.